Hi, I'm Janice, and welcome to the Astro Hot Life channel. And today I'm filming in my garage. Why? Because the walls in my house are pretty thin, and I would like some extra privacy to share this video. And it's weird because I'm posting it on YouTube. However, potentially doing multiple takes of this would be very cringy to me. So I'm in the garage to get a little bit of extra privacy. This is just some me and you time, and potentially other people watching. But I really wanted to share this video because I know that it might help someone. Even if it's just one person, that's all that matters. But someone who chased after their dreams and everything came crumbling down afterwards. We often are inspired by testimonies of people who took the leap of faith and they made it to the other side without any bumps or bruises. But there are many other stories where people did take that leap of faith and they scraped their knee and leg, or maybe they even broke an arm. And the thing is that we often see those people, whether it's people who took the leap of faith and had it easy or didn't have it easy, but still took the leap of faith, we see them at their end point. We see them when they are living in their $1 million penthouse, they have a mastermind class, they're making 6 figures a month, and they're sharing the blueprint on how to do it. However, I'm in the land of in between, like some of you may be. And you may be watching videos like mine or other tarot readers where it's like, when is it going to get better? Because right now sucks. Or maybe it doesn't suck that much, but I'd like for there to be more than what is right now, because I'm not really satisfied with it. And it's good to desire for more and to want to expand, because that's just part of our nature. We are, as divine beings, we are inclined to want to expand. But before I go any further, I just wanted to say that I will announce the contest winners for the free reading at the end of this video. But okay, now that I got that out the way, let's continue. So what was my dream? My dream is that I did not want to ever work for anyone again. I was one of those people who worked really, really hard for a very, very long time. In fact, since I was in grade school, I was that person who took a lot of the AP, or advanced placement classes. I was one of those people that wanted to be the president of everything. In fact, I was even the co-founder of the Asian American Club at my school. And then after that, I was in the Air Force, in Space Command, and I wanted to be the best airman I could possibly be at that point. I won many awards, but I still didn't feel very satisfied. That's a whole nother story about my military career. And then went to Columbia University, which was definitely something I'm super proud of, especially being one of the first people in my family to go to college, a 4-year university, that is. And yeah, that was phenomenal, but I had to work my butt off. I wasn't someone who just was naturally smart. I am an intelligent person. However, I also need to put in work for me to make good grades. So it was a pretty stressful experience while I was there. And then I worked at a consulting firm. And if you are a consultant or familiar with that area of work, then you know that I had no life. So not having a life, and actually not having a life for a huge chunk of my life, because I was always aiming and achieving for something higher than wherever I was, I got really tired and I got burnt out. In fact, I went through a season of time where just had back to back things going on. And this was during COVID. So collectively, we're all going through it. But during that time, just to name a few things, and I can go into more detail in another video if anyone's interested at all. But let's see, my husband died. Yep, there was that. Prior to that, I found out when I was trying to file for divorce, so that's a whole nother thing on itself. I was working crazy amounts of hours, and the stress was just so high. And I feel like his death, as well as the death of other family members during COVID, made it very difficult on me. And at one point, I felt like the brain that I prided myself on having, oh, I'm smart, I'm brilliant, I'm an amazing problem solver, I felt like I was having early onset Alzheimer's in my 30s. Well, I guess, yeah, 30s at that time. I'm 33, in case you're curious. So I would like look at emails and that I typed and sent out to people and be like, what the heck? Like, that's not, is that even English? Like, I know I wasn't drinking on the job when I typed that. Like, what's going on? Um, Amongst many other symptoms that are going on that, like, shows my body and my brain screaming for, like, hey, we need to take a break. And that's after much resistance because here I thought, despite being completely burnt out, not being able to take care of myself very well, or my house, or my home, that I would be doing anyone any favors. But still, I was like, okay, no, my team needs me. My team needs me. Anyways, I got to a point where I said I need to take care of myself. I took only 3 days off initially when I found out my husband died because I just wanted to jump back into work. I hated feeling my feelings. That's why I always say things like feel your feelings, because you can feel them now or you can feel them later, and later fucking sucks. Sorry for my language. But yes, you can feel them at any point, but you're going to feel them. And you're going to feel even like with conscious decision to feel them, or you can feel it in your body because you've suppressed them for so long. And then you're trying to figure out what's going on there once you start to heal yourself through healing your emotions. Anyways, I finally gave in and I said I was going to take care of myself, take care of my mental health, practice self-care, and take some time off. Despite having a very fast-paced work environment, my team was very supportive in me doing so. However, MetLife, I have no shame in saying their names because I don't care. MetLife, which is the company that I had my short-term disability insurance with, said, nope, screw your claim, F you. As I can laugh now, I didn't laugh at the time. Because why I couldn't laugh? Why I didn't laugh? It's because after 4 months, I found out my claim was denied, and the money I did get had to go back. And I only got paid for let me rewind because I'm mixing up my story. But halfway through, I found that my claim was denied. So the money I did get, I had to pay back. And then I still was not well enough to work. In fact, I was even worse off than when I started because not only am I still grieving and dealing with mental health challenges, now I have to figure out how I'm going to survive financially and pay back a large amount of money to the company that I worked for. So my mental health declined even more. In addition to my mental health declining, my hair was falling out, skin tore up from the floor up. My weight was fluctuating all the time. My home was an absolute disaster, and I'm a complete neat freak. I like things to be in order. I used to be one of those people where you can be like, hey, Janice, I think I lost a hair clip while I was at your house last month. I'm like, oh, I know exactly where it is. You can find it in the third drawer bottom left of this cabinet. And you would find it because I was that organized. But during those times where I could not take care of myself, mail piled up, paperwork piled up, laundry piled up, everything. My hair just, like I said, damaged beyond belief. And I felt truly and utterly worthless. Although that's not true, you don't need to have money in order for you to be of value. In fact, the truth is that we are inherently valuable just because we exist. But I didn't know that at the time. At the time, I was just like, I'm useless. Everything that I prided myself on, my intellect, my organization, my ability to produce results, my ability to feel beautiful, everything just felt like it was going down the drain. So at that point, I was like, just completely apathetic, and I was in a very dark space. And that's another reason why I wanted to make this video, because I watched other videos like this that really inspired me to keep going when that was the last thing I wanted to do. In fact, my parents, specifically my mom, kept me going. She prayed for me nonstop. And my dog also kept me alive There were days where I was like, God, just take me. And I'm sorry if this is a trigger for anyone. So if this is triggering for you, now may be a good time to click off, because I might make more references to that. But I'm not making any laughing matter of this, because I take it very seriously. But it's just, it was where I was at that time. So where was I going with this? Okay, yes, I did not want to be around. I felt like I was a huge burden on everyone that I cared about and loved. And I just couldn't make sense of life anymore. I was able to manifest and create great results in my life previously. Like I mentioned, I told you about my history with like the Air Force and Colombia, and I've done so many other things. I've manifested $40,000 before with ease, without putting in any work at all. In fact, I thought it was a bank mistake, but it turned out to be my manifestation. And another time I manifested vacations. I've manifested even the company that I worked for. I really had no problem doing those things. And even when things were all the odds were against me, I still felt like I could make it happen. But when this happened, and I felt like nothing I tried was working, even though I had this deep belief in my heart, or knowing that everything would change for the better, I was beyond confused. And because I didn't know how to move forward, I didn't want to move forward. So at that point, after feeling apathetic for a while, I went up the scale of consciousness to a lot of anger. And I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm not going to work for anyone anymore. This is what this is trying to teach me. Like, I've never felt fully appreciated, blah, blah, blah. Even though I was in a bit of debt and didn't know how I was going to dig myself out of this like an emotional hole, I still was like on fire to just create a very different reality from the one that I had. In fact, during my time working for the consulting firm, I tried to like work on different side hustles and stuff, despite working crazy amounts of hours. And I remember thinking, oh, I know, like, if I invested all the time that I'm putting into this company, into my ideas, they would just take off, because whatever I touch turns to gold. Yeah, that sounds pretty like, what is it called? Arrogant, but no, it's just confidence. But when I finally did get to the point and got the courage to not only quit my job, but to sell my house, sell my car. And my plan was for me to move to a different country and just like be a digital nomad for a little bit and just like travel and come back and rebuild from there. I just wanted to have a nice reset, and I wanted to experience life, because I worked so hard for so long that I just didn't know what it was like to just exist. Believe it or not, the last time I truly felt free was when I was in the military, which is saying a lot, because that's not really a place where you tend to feel free. But I think at that point it was just, I was young, and I just left my home, which was pretty strict, loving but strict. And it just felt like so much fun. I got to experience different things with different people, and it was awesome. It had its downsides, of course, too, but like I had a lot of fun times. But anyways, my goal was for me to travel, post all my amazing pictures on Instagram, and basically just show everyone who had any negative thing to say about me that they were wrong and my life turned out well. And after taking this vacation and break, I was going to build my empire. That was the plan. However, life had other plans. Don't get me wrong, once again, I had the opportunity to do a lot of cool things. I even got to go to a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation retreat, which is so amazing. Maybe I'll do a video on that one day. I felt so much love there. I got to go to a different retreat afterwards, which I can also talk about. I got to try some things I've never done before. Really cool. But a lot of other unexpected things happened too. In fact, my skin did not get better, it got worse. Hair still had issues. My weight was fluctuating some more. And financially, it just seemed like no matter what I tried, despite having a very solid foundation in the past financially, so I thought, um, nothing would change. In fact, when I finally got to a point to apply to jobs again, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna have to approach this differently. Maybe the timing isn't right. Maybe I heard incorrectly. Maybe. I don't know. I just was so unsure of myself because, like I said before, I've been able to manifest things that were large and small in the past, and nothing looked like the way it did now. In fact, I felt like I was just bewildered. In fact, sometimes I'm still a little confused, but that's because everything isn't under my control, my egoic control, because I know the ego within me wants to have everything make sense. It wants to know the whole route from point A all the way to point Z. And that's not the way life works. In fact, the lesson that I was meant to learn through all this was to trust the plan and to trust the journey and to trust that I don't know everything, but to trust that the thing that I do know, which is my vision, is and will come to pass. So I know this isn't very structured, it's kind of all over the place, but I just really wanted to just get this out. So thank you for your patience as I try to remember where I left off as I speak. I'm sitting on a dryer in my garage. Maybe that's symbolic for someone, who knows. Okay, so where's the happy ending, you may ask? The happy ending is still here. I believe that there are multiple realities that are occurring at once. And this, when I say this to a lot of my friends, especially to the ones who aren't into the whole spirituality thing, this is where they think that I lost my mind. But I genuinely believe that what I desire and what I believe to be true currently exists right now. And although I've had to go through so many disappointing and heartbreaking moments, like seriously heartbreaking, like I felt like I couldn't breathe so many times, I knew that all of those experiences were to bring things to the surface of my awareness that I've previously suppressed. So that way it can be acknowledged and looked at and healed and released once and for all. Because I know what I called into reality is huge. And the version of me from a couple years ago, or actually I guess more so like a year ago, a couple years ago, could not be the same person that would thrive in the new reality that I created. So all this is all about character building. And I really wanted to hold off on making this video. I wanted to have like a Lamborghini in my garage. I wanted to show you views from my penthouse. I wanted to have a perfect body and perfect skin when I made this video to say, look what I did and you can do it too. And those types of videos are great, and there's so many like examples of those, and I highly recommend you watch them if you ever feel discouraged. But I wanted to make this video for the people who feel like they too are in the land of in between, and who watch videos like the ones I make on my channel would be like, what's next? When are things going to change? I'm hearing that things are going to get better. Like when am I going to meet my soulmate? When am I going to call in my abundance? And I think the reason why I'm called to make this video as well is to show that it is possible to feel like you're confused and lost some days or even some hours, and then the next or the rest of the hours of the day that you feel like everything's going to be all right. Because it will be. I think it's we're meant to feel all these like mixtures of feelings. We're meant to be a little lost and confused egoically so we can trust and lean on the truth. And that certainly builds character. But you must be wondering, or might be wondering, well, how do I make this more palatable? How do I enjoy this space of in between, this purgatory, until I get to the next place? So if you watch any of my videos or are into the whole law of assumption or Neville Goddard, you may know the whole like saying that the feeling is the secret. So how do you feel like you've already arrived when you haven't even like experienced an ounce of what you're calling in? And that's why it's important for us to make the best of this current moment. I know this is a point where a lot of people may decide to just click off this video and be like, I'm so tired of these BS cliches. Oh, think positive, make the best. But if you won't do it now, then you probably won't do it later and you will stay stuck. Even like in the Bible, you hear about like the Israelites, and it's so interesting because whenever I would hear about their story, I used to be like so annoyed when they would complain and be like, it was better in Egypt. Why did you bring us out into this desert for us to die, Moses? Like, what about this promised land? And I'm like, oh my God, how ungrateful. They'd rather be slaves than to just walk through this desert to get to where they know that they're going to like thrive and redeem God's promises. Like, what's wrong with them? How ungrateful. But I realized I was a lot like them, actually. In fact, sometimes I still can be like them when I feel frustrated. And if you know this biblical reference that I'm referring to, then you know that their time in the desert was extended way longer than it was intended to because they complained the entire time. And I feel like I've done that in many regards. And maybe you've done that too, and maybe that's why things that should have came in like hasn't come in yet. Maybe, I don't know. It's just a theory. I don't know your personal situation. And another thing that I've learned from that whole biblical reference of the Israelites is that when they finally did get to, when they finally had the opportunity to go into the land, I'm like blanking, is it Canaan? I think, yeah, Canaan. And at the time, Joshua was their leader. And like, oh my God, I'm blanking so much on this story. You see, I need to rest more. I need to rest because my memory isn't completely back yet. But anyways, when the spies were sent out into this promised land, the first few spies that gave the report said to the leaders, oh my gosh, it's so great over there, but we were like grasshoppers. We weren't even big enough for us like to go in and take what we want. And then the second set of spies, I think which included Joshua, there we go, was like, oh yeah, there are some giants over there, but we can take him. And for many of you, I think that's where you're at. You are on the brink of this promised land. And you might feel like so intimidated because you've been worn down. We're like, I am someone who's been wandering in the desert. I've been eating manna from the sky, which comes in daily. I don't know. Sorry. I just really got an aha moment. But manna, just to give you a little insight to that aha moment I got, is only provided daily. They couldn't store up a bunch of manna or else it was going to rot. And I'm sure for some of you, especially if you're dealing with financial issues, you may be like, I wish I had more than just enough right now. So that way I can at least like plan forward. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's just called being like a normal, responsible adult. But right now we're being tasked with the challenge of only like focusing on the now and not trying to store up and over prepare for the next moment, because we are being asked to trust in life and God, so that way we can make it to the next day. Anyways, back to the story of Joshua. We hear that a lot of the people that said that they couldn't go into the promised land actually didn't get to make it. And you can fall into one of two camps. You can be in the first group that feels so worn down from your past experiences, where you feel like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I don't know. I don't even have the resources I once had, even at my lowest point prior to this journey. Or you can be like the second group, which is hungry and is determined, like, no, I came too far. I'm not going to go back, or I'm not going to give up on this dream that's right in front of me. And I'm going to add a third group that wasn't included in this biblical reference, but I think some of you watching may be able to like relate to this. And it's that like you don't even know what your dreams are anymore because you just feel so depleted and disappointed. And it's, I feel you so much on that. And I just wanted to say that it's okay to feel that way, and you don't have to stay feeling that way, but it's important to at least acknowledge how you feel. And you don't have to put on a front because everyone, so many people have like a front. And that's why it was even hard for me to make this video, because I didn't want to be vulnerable, to put it simply. I wanted to just be like, oh yeah, everything's fine. Let me tell you about positive things coming up in the future. But I think it's more important to be real than to put on a fake face for no one, because no one cares. No one cares about your fake face. No one does. I think people value things that are real instead. So where am I going with this? I just want to say to any of you who are in any of the groups that I mentioned, or even just watching this video at all, that I know that it's super tough, but I feel like I was not just called to make this video for views or anything. I'm a small channel. I don't even know how many people are going to watch this. Maybe only like 100. And that's fine, because I think every single person that watches this is extremely valuable. And even if no one watches this, this is a video I'm probably going to click on in the future whenever I'm not feeling very motivated. But yeah, I really wanted to make this video to say that you may have felt like you chased after your dreams and everything fell apart and you don't even know what you're doing wrong. And I'm here to say that you aren't doing anything wrong. You're just going through an initiation. And that doesn't mean that you can't learn from what's not working and make adjustments to just be more effective, or to maybe go into meditation and see if there's anything that you do need to adjust. But the point is to not give up on yourself, to forgive yourself if you are beating yourself up. That is something I'm working on a lot. In fact, I'm reading a book called Radical Self-Forgiveness. Maybe I'll share some of the aha moments that I've gained from the book. But yeah, I just want you to know that you're doing a great job, and that as long as you don't give up on that vision for your future, you will experience it. But in order for you to keep moving forward, you have to keep moving forward. Do not get stuck in the past. Do not turn into Lot's wife, who looked back and turned into salt. No, don't do that. That's not a good look for you. Don't be salty. Look forward towards your sweet future. So I'm going to pause real quick so that way I can go back to my room to grab the bowl of the contest winners. Bowl, what am I saying?